Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to TechGig webinar series, our endeavor to impart techies. We believe that sharing of knowledge is the key to enhance our skills and grow us as professionals. With this principle in mind, we have initiated a series of webinars conducted by industry experts to give you all a crisp insight of various domains. The topic of today's webinar is Plan Your Career over a webinar with Anil Sachdev. Our guest speaker today is Mr. Anil Sachdev, founder and CEO, School of Inspired Leadership, and Head, National Committee, HR and Leadership, CII. Anil Sachdev is the founder and CEO of Growth Talent Company Limited and the School of Inspired Leadership, SOIL, which was recently awarded by SHRM as the Game Changer Academic Institute of the Year 2013. Grow Talent was created in July 2000 and became the leader in the strategic HR consulting industry by 2006. It enabled a large number of global and local organizations to achieve breakthrough performance by realizing the potential of their people and creating a talent advantage. In October 2008, Anil and the other co-founders of Growth Talent entered the field of education by creating SOIL, the School of Inspired Leadership. This innovative school has been co-created by a consortium of 32 leading firms such as Aditya Birla Group, Hindustan Unilever, Infosys, etc. In August 2010, a research study of IIM Ahmedabad named it as a game changer in higher education, and in November 2010, the case study on the model of SOIL was named as amongst the top 3 innovations in India Corporation by an eminent jury of the All India Management Association. SOIL, acclaimed for being a game changer and an innovation in higher education, was also featured in an exclusive documentary on ET Now, one of the top business channels of India. Recognized as a thought leader in leadership development and organizational transformation, Anil has done pioneering work with leading global and local firms. He has been adjunct faculty to leading business schools such as Indian School of Business, Kelley School of Business, Indiana University, GMI, Flint, Michigan, Antioch University, Seattle, Ohio University, and University of New Brunswick, Canada. Anil began his career with Tata Motors in 1975 after completing his MBA. He is the founder of Aisha Consultancy Services and was its CEO till 2001. Anil serves on the academic committee of CEDEP, the Leadership Institute of Fontainebleau, and is a member of the Global Compassion Council Charter for Compassion International and chairs the National Committee on Human Resources of CII. So without further delay, I introduce you all to our guest speaker. Over to you, Mr. Sachdev.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon, friends, and welcome to this adventure in learning together. So basically, this whole attempt of our reaching out to those of you who are interested in this conversation is to basically say that career planning is a subtext to the larger question of life planning. All of us come to this world very specifically because we have come in the human form to express our potential. It is not an accident that we are born, and whatever consciousness that we talk about, or the life-giving force, or God, or whatever that notion of that form of energy out of which life is born, human life is very precious and special. And all beings who are born as human beings have a particular reason to be born. The first part of our life is spent in learning. As children, we are excited by stimulation, where we learn how to perceive. As small children, we observe, we listen to different sounds, we begin to make meaning out of the world, we begin to respond to different stimuli, we begin to relate to people, and all this expression is when we are forming our identity. In forming our identity as we become older, we begin to recognize our likes and dislikes, begin to understand what gives us happiness and joy. As we are taught new subjects inside the classroom and outside the classroom, as we are exposed to new situations and new people, on one hand, our awareness is ever increasing. On the other hand, our emotional experiences are getting enhanced, and we are understanding what relationships are about. At the same time, we are beginning to convert the awareness into some information that we can deal with. And finally, we are making sense out of that information by applying it to our own use so as to become knowledgeable. And as we are acquiring knowledge, we are developing the intellectual part of ourselves, and it becomes a lifelong process. This understanding of how to perceive, this understanding of how to relate to people, and this capacity of how to think. Finally, perception from the world combined with the relationships that we form with others, combined with our capacity to think, all add together into the choices that we make in terms of the action that we perform. So those actions then lead to different reactions and responses from the world, and they further reinforce our own predisposition to react to new situations and develop our character. This whole exercise of defining our identity takes place through the early part of our lives when we are really shaping our own notion of who we are. And so, no matter what we study in school or in college, all of that is about an excuse to know who we are. Whether we study science or we study liberal arts or we study commerce or engineering or chartered accountancy or medicine, essentially we are learning how to solve problems, take care of the opportunities that exist for us, and this is an attempt on our part to leverage that, to seize the opportunities, to solve problems, to find happiness in relationships. And all this conscious attempt is for us to feel a sense of happiness in life. But the real meaning of education, irrespective of what we study, is to really answer critical questions like the real meaning of the word educate or education is to know oneself. And I think all of schooling and education and even the earlier part of our profession is to truly understand ourselves better, which means who am I? What gives me the maximum joy and happiness in terms of what is present both within me and outside me? Based on what gives me happiness and joy, what do I discover about my own strengths? What is the vision that I have for my life in terms of how I see the future of the world and the future of my own family, my own community? And in the future that I imagine, how can I use my own strengths to create the future that I desire? And then finally, how do I develop a discipline of not only dreaming about the future, not only planning for the future, but the discipline of making my future happen? So, we call this conscious attempt of learning the 4D model. In this 4D model, which is a new conversation about ourselves, the first part is discovery. And all of the initial education in life is about discovering ourselves, which is what is it that we have done in our life as we study different subjects, as we meet different people, as we do different projects. What gives us the maximum happiness which lasts for a long time? What makes us give off our very best while working on a science project in school or college, while working on a student project, while working on a celebration in our community like organizing a Durga Puja or a relative wedding in the family? No matter what we do, based on the time when we are doing our joyful best, we are both inside the classroom in education and outside discovering ourselves. What gives us life? Appreciating who we are. And so the real meaning of education is to appreciate our own identity, our own nature, our own talent. And then the next part of our life, when we have given ourselves a good education, is to develop the capacity to dream. And education is not just what we do in the classroom. It is also what we do in terms of the people I choose to hang around with, the friendships that we make, the books that we read, the media that we watch, the technology that exposes us to awareness of the world. That all shapes our worldview. With that worldview, which is the first part of our life and we are forming our worldview, the second part is really earning the right to dream, which is that I have discovered my strengths and my talents. Now I have earned myself the right to dream. What do I do with my talent? Which is the whole notion of what might be. What is the world calling me to do? What is my vision for myself and my world? Which is to say, if all my dreams for the world are that the world should be like that, my family should be like that, my neighborhood should be like that, my country should be like that, the planet should be like that, depends upon how you think, how broadly you think. Then the second part of life is to take the responsibility for our dreams by envisioning a future which truly excites us, so that it becomes a part of our dream. And this is not a dream that we get after we go to sleep, but this is a dream created in the waking hours, which is the vision of the future that drives us. You know, many of us become entrepreneurs, many of us become social workers, many of us become politicians because we have a strong vision about the future that is driving us at a young age to say, I want the world to be like this. That's the second phase of dreaming. But then after we have created this vivid description of the future, which is this powerful dream that keeps us awake at all times, that particular aspect, that power of that dream, then the third part of our life is to design our life around that dream, to say what should be therefore our focus. If we want the world to be like that, if we want our life to be like that, if we have a vision for our own life, what should we focus on? That means, what is that area that we should choose for our work? How do we define goals so that we get more and more focus? And how do we choose that track on which we have to perform to realize our dreams? That means the field we choose to work in, and the particular domain that we should really develop expertise in, and the quality of goals that we define for ourselves. So that is the whole notion of design for our life. And finally, once we are clear on our focus areas, domain areas, the boundaries that we choose, then the last part is to make it happen through delivering. That means, how do we empower ourselves by learning through doing, learning through knowing, and learning through being? Because this combination of knowing, doing, and being is the time of silence, which is the time when we reflect on what we have done after knowing. So we know something, then we do it, and then we learn out of that through silence, and then we make improvements and adjustments and improvisation so that we can sustain the enthusiasm that we have to walk along the designed future that we have chosen. So in positive psychology, we have this very powerful methodology for planning your life and planning your career, which is the first part is invest time in discovering yourself. The second part is spend a significant amount of effort in creating a powerful, vivid description of the future, which is our dream. Then spend time on creating a design with clear focus. And last part is developing that sustained enthusiasm through the discipline of making it happen through a daily practice of learning and empowering ourselves through that learning. So with this